Hey, hey, hey. All right. So, it's your boy. It's your boy. No name. And today, I want to bring you something different. I want to start something new. Is what it is. I got an idea a couple days ago where I was talking about the fact that I have a lot of just wild takes all over the time, right? Whether it be talking with friends, chilling in the bathroom, chilling on my bed, just playing games alone. Who cares? Even when I'm on stream, sometimes I have some interesting thoughts come to mind, and I realized that I needed an outlet for all of it. And I realized like I could make a good video series, and so I come up with this. It's called the set off. Um, the set off. Why the set off, you ask? Because it's the shit that sets me off. Basically, the whole idea was I would pick topics that like upon just the mere mentioning of them for some reason launches me into a several minute rant, 5, 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, you know what? This makes great time. And like maybe I might start recording these live. Like I might just start doing these on Twitch. Who knows? I don't know yet. I got to figure all that out still. But I realized that this is something new that I could start doing. And so I figured here's the first. So the set off, which that reminds me, which means, in the comments, let me know if y'all like it or whatnot, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Much appreciated either way. Um, and also while I mentioned, recording them live, I'm on Twitch. Link in the description for that. And, maybe if this really catches on, I'll start taking suggestions for topics, either in my Discord or maybe I'll start taking suggestions maybe I'll start taking suggestions now in my Discord. And so you should get in there. Link in the description as well. You should get in there early so you can start feeding me ideas. You can be like, oh my God, that was my topic. Right? So, as you see over here, first topic of this series to set off, game balancing. Which now that's a really broad one. But I promise it makes sense if you saw like the title of the video, but also once you hear me. So I was thinking the other day about game balancing and what I think it's done for the industry. And so there's some largely positive things that I think game balancing has really done. But I want to hit this one negative point home that's always really irked me, which is I feel like game balancing has managed in a lot of ways to squash out competitive ingenuity in favor of rapid. So basically, scrap players being ingenious and solving the solutions themselves. We will give them solutions to their problems. So it's not even like a ridiculous take, but it's just something that I've always been like really bothered by. In the era of live patching games, right? And the best way I can describe why this has always urged me a little bit is to talk about chess. Like, I'm a long-term chess player. I've been playing since I was 2.5 years old, so about 22 years now, almost 22. My bad, a little over 21 years. There we go. And like, chess doesn't have patches; it just uses different formats, right? But the core rules of the game are pretty stable. Pawns, the pieces all move a certain way. The board hasn't changed in forever. All that people really touch in most scenarios is the time settings. Is it 2 minutes? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 3 minutes, but you get a second back each time you make a move? 10 minutes, no time back. 25 minutes, 2 seconds back. Right? Like you play with time controls, but the movement itself generally doesn't change too much between from game to game. Even like if you look at like the chess championships where they use multiple formats, in cases of tiebreakers, even those don't actually change the rules of the gameplay so much as the time constraint, right? You start in classical, then you go to rapid, and then if there's still something wrong there, you go to Armageddon, where like the only rule difference is one player starts at a time at disadvantage, but they also have a new win condition of a tie in the case of needing a no tie system. But they never were like, man, you know what? I feel like chess would be a better game if the queen had a movement range. Or what if we adjusted the way the knight moved? Like they never balanced the actual game itself. And that has always been one of the things that bothers me about like the more competitive side of gaming today is that You could be really good on a game in one state of the game when you've really min maxed and figured it out and really worked it down to its core details. And then the developers come in and just say, yeah, scrap all that. That doesn't exist anymore. Right? It's why, like, for example, like a competitive game online that's always compelled me is like StarCraft. I really like StarCraft, the competitive scene, because at some point they just stopped patching the games. They just let us play it, right? And since they just let us play it, you either play the meta because the meta is strong for a reason, or occasionally you sit down and you do some research and some science and really break it all down. And then you'd be like, you know what? I've got this new strat. And I'm not too well educated on the exact history of StarCraft because I'm a little too young for that. But I love like listening to people talk about it, like, you know, because they like grew up through that and they like really were in the scene, because it's just fascinating that people took a game with no rule changes and just got better at it. That's kind of where I sit with games sometimes, is that I wish that games were just left alone to let people become insane at it. One of the best examples in like a really popular modern game for this is like League. League changes stuff all the goddamn time about its meta. And so I don't want to focus too much on the meta and the like character compositions and everything like that. What I want to talk about is like certain champions. Specifically, I want to talk about Lee Sin, because I like grew up, you know, I played in like season 2, season 3, and then I played recently, right? And like the difference in quality of Lee Sin player is ridiculous. The stuff that we were seeing on Lee Sin back in season 2, season 3, you would expect your silver jungler to be capable of doing, right? First about the mechanical play of the champion. And that's kind of the thing, is that I like seeing when a game gets to the point where mechanically it just like exceeds itself over and over and over as people just get better and better and better. And that's what makes chess so fascinating to me. Chess is fascinating to me and always has been, because even though the rules of the game haven't changed, people's understanding of those rules continue to grow. We end up with new modern theory all the time around new ways to, you know, approach certain openings or mid-game scenarios, and even takes on end games that, you know, once upon a time in the past were ruled unwinnable. I feel like gaming in a lot of ways could benefit from, you know, more stagnation at times, but I say at times, and like this is a take that, you know, is directly at odds with some of my other takes related to game balancing. But I wanted to use this to talk about game balancing as a whole first, about like one of my bigger gripes with just the lack of player driven ingenuity in games, because I do genuinely feel like the way things are developed is really handholdy in how to in optimization as opposed to player driven. And I feel like a lot of cases of things being excised from the situation is because the players min max something harder than the devs could have ever foreseen, and are unwilling to lay in the bed that they made, right? We just kind of like decided that, you know, fuck laying in the bed I made, toss the whole damn bed out. And that's kind of the whole of this first take. You know, again, just to set off, just my new idea on how I'm going to start dumping some interesting takes here and there. Sometimes they'll be interesting, sometimes they might not be. Like, this take wasn't that wild. I've got some more wild ones lined up, but this is just something I've always wanted to really like talk about in some way that condensed my thoughts. And so, you know, thank you for listening. If you have any, you know, take what you will from this, right? That's got, the point is mostly I'm just putting it out there, and you guys can think about it, right? Maybe it spawns something in like 20 years where somebody's like, yeah, I actually heard this talk. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just talking. I just wanted to talk about it. And if you have any thoughts about it, let me know in the comments below, or yell at me because you're like, no, you're absolutely stupid. I can't believe you even consider having a take like that. Like, I'm open to that. That's kind of the whole point of me putting the take out there. Is I just want to see what people think about it. That said, you know, thank you for watching. Thank you for, or I guess listening, really. You don't have to like actually watch these. Maybe I'll put that in the intro. Like, you don't really have to watch these. I'm just talking. You could probably just listen to these in the background. But so that's set off. I'm gonna try to upload like one or two of these a week. I feel like because I always feel like I have more to talk about in games, and sometimes it'll be game specific, sometimes it'll be top, or sometimes it'll be more general like this one. But I just always have things to think about. I'm thinking about and talking about that they really set me off. So, uh, and since I'm a very easily set off individual, I feel like the only way to do it being set off is to set it off on y'all. Right? We can all be set off together. Take care. Thanks for listening, and set off on somebody else today.